Hi guys, today I am here to present my top 10 books of 2017. I'm so excited as always. These are some of my favorite videos to do. I cannot wait to talk about all of these amazing books. This is probably the contemporary heaviest list I've ever had. 6 books on this list are contemporaries. I really had a great time reading contemporaries this year and really picked the exact right, perfect ones. I'm gonna go from my least favorite to my favorite as every year, although I obviously love all of them, but I just love ranking these as well. That's another like very exciting task that I love to do, and I think we're just gonna get into it. On number 10 we have The Female of the Species by Mandy McGuinness. Now this book made it onto my list because it was such a great mix between a very hard to read book that dealt with a sexual assault and rape, but at the same time still being a coming of age novel and about friendship and finding first love. And I thought that this was just really well done, that there was a really nice mix between those two things. It somehow was able to make this book enjoyable even though it dealt with such hard topics, and I just really appreciated that. And I think this book is so important. I just think that it was a good way to kind of bring this topic to more people, because it's not quite as hard as other books who deal with this topic. Obviously still, you know, huge trigger warning, and it's just really important to bring this topic to as many people as possible, and I just think Mandy McGuinness did an absolutely wonderful job here. Then I have The Abyss Duology by Emily Skrutsky. Now I sometimes am not sure, do I want to rank books in a series differently or not, but these two, they just really belong together, and they both were on an absolutely amazing level. I couldn't say which one I liked more. They were both just so well done. They were both 5-star reads, so I just thought I put them together. They are both very short books. I just think it kind of fits. Like, it would probably add up to like, I don't know, a 500-page book, so I feel like it's fine. Anyway, this was an absolutely amazing duology. I loved the characters and their relationship and their development. It is about pirates and has a lot of interesting science fiction stuff included in it as well, while at the same time not kind of losing this kind of piratey feeling that I like. I feel like sometimes when you go into like more futuristic pirates, they kind of lose this piratey feeling that I like. Like, I want Pirates of the Caribbean pirates and not like weird kind of new technology pirates. And I felt like in this duology it was just kind of well done, that they still felt like old school pirates but still had all of this technology included that was also just very interesting and fun to read about. But definitely my favorite part were the characters, was the romance. Oh my god, the romance killed me. But yeah, highly recommended duology, absolutely loved it. On number 8 we have Dark Triumph by Robin LaFevers. It took me a little while to decide if I just wanted to put this one book on the list or the whole trilogy, but this book really stood out to me. I loved the trilogy overall, and definitely it is like a 4.5 trilogy for me if I put them all together. But Dark Triumph just really stands out as a favorite for me, so I just decided to put it on the list. It's definitely kind of a placeholder for the whole trilogy, but I wanted to give it its own spot because I just loved this second book in this trilogy so much. The storyline was so interesting. We didn't really have to have any more world building because we already got introduced to it in the first book. I also absolutely fell in love with this main character. She's definitely my favorite from the trilogy, and I cannot wait to continue her storyline in the sequels that are gonna come out next year. Her character development is absolutely amazing. She's such a strong female character. I absolutely love her. I also love the romance in it. I got invested real quick, which is always an important part for me. And I just really love the second book, but also just the trilogy overall. It really is like dear to my heart now, and yeah, I'm just so happy that I finally decided to read these books. On number 7 I have Dress Codes for Small Towns by Courtney Stevens. This is a book that I still have a little bit of a hard time talking about. I'm just not quite sure how I can put my emotions into words. This was just a really great book with a really relatable character that just went through experiences that I also had as a teenager, which is just always great. Like, even at almost 25, I still love reading YA and discovering that these were feelings that I had as a teenager. It deals a lot with gender identity but also sexual orientation, and I just really love this. I thought everything was handled so very well. The friendship group in this is really nice, and the different kind of developments and just interactions between all of these characters were so well done. I just love this. I want so many more people to read this. On number 6 I have Warcross by Mary Lou. Now this really was something that I was super excited for and that still ended up exceeding my expectations. I thought the concept sounded so intriguing, but I wasn't really sure what to expect from Mary Lou, and I was just blown away. I think the world building and the whole concept around this is so interesting. I love that it is definitely mainly about a game, but we can see how much this game and the technology around it influences everyday life. The storyline is so good and interesting. The gaming aspect is also very well done, and I think it's something that is very easy to understand, but also doesn't get boring if you are into gaming and know how gaming kind of works. The characters are easily my favorite part though. I love the main characters so much, and all of the like side characters, just the whole cast was absolutely amazing. There were a few twists and turns in it. Some of them I expected, some of them I didn't, but even the ones that I expected, they were still kind of something that left me shocked. It's a hard feeling to explain, but if you ever had that, you probably know how like interesting it is when you expect something, but then when it happens, you're still like, whoa, that just happened. And that is definitely something that speaks for a lot of like skill when it comes to writing. I love this book, it's so fun and entertaining. I can't wait for the sequel. So number 5 and 4, I do want to talk about together because they are part of a series, but I wanted to give each of them their own rank because there was definitely one that I enjoyed a little bit more than the other one. So my number 5 is Forever Geek by Holly Smale, and my number 4 is Head Over Heels by Holly Smale. These are the 5th and 6th book in the Geek Girl series. I loved both of these so much, but they definitely deserve their own rank. First of all, because I love them so much, but also because I definitely thought that Head Over Heels was overall the stronger book. And Head Over Heels was just my favorite from the whole series. It stands out to me the most, and that is why I really just wanted it to have its like own rank. But both of these are amazing. The whole series is absolutely amazing. The conclusion, Forever Geek, was so good and so beautiful, brought everything together so well, and it's just really a conclusion you could only hope for when it comes to some fantasy books. Head Over Heels was just amazing. I find it really interesting that this is actually the book that has the least amount of romance in it. Still, it is my favorite, even though, you know, romance is definitely a part that I really enjoy and that I really reach for. But this had so many friendship elements that were so good and so important. There was so much character development in it. When I initially started this series, I never thought I would love it as much as I do now. I never thought that it would mean as much to me. I just thought this was like a fluffy, entertaining kind of series, but it's so much more. It really means a lot to me. I just appreciate this whole series so much, and yeah, I just had to put both of these books on my list. My number 3 is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. This book came as such a surprise. I was really not expecting at all for this to be on my favorites list. When I picked this up, I did it on a total whim. I wasn't even really sure what to expect from it. All I had heard was that it included a lot of diverse characters, but that's basically all I knew about it. It just absolutely made me fall in love with Becky Albertalli. It is another book that has an amazing cast of characters. I loved all of the representation in it. I just was able to relate to Molly, which is just something that I can't really find very often. I just find it really hard to relate to characters, and I was never really able to, but Molly was one of the few ones where there were really parts that I just really got, and where I was like, I would have reacted the same way, or I would have felt the same way. I was very emotionally invested with her as a character. This made me cry and laugh in several parts just because I was like so into it and I could see myself in some of these situations. I just love this book. I've talked about it quite a lot this year because I read it back in March, so I feel like I keep talking about it, but it's just so beautiful. And now we're down to my top 2. These 2 books are definitely another level to all of these other books. Obviously, I loved all of them and a lot of them meant a lot to me, but my number 1 and number 2 are books that will stay with me for absolutely ever. If I would talk about them on my deathbed, I'd not be surprised. These are the only 2 books from this list that made it onto my favorites of all time. All of the other books were great, but just not quite there. These 2 are just really special. They will probably come as no surprise if you've been on my channel this whole year. My number 2 is Ramona Blue by Julie Murphy. Ramona Blue is another of these books that I still have a hard time even expressing my emotions for. This book means so much to me, and this was another book where I found the main character really relatable, but it's not as easy to pinpoint as it is in The Upside of Unrequited. I read Ramona Blue at a time where I was kind of going through questions when it comes to my sexual identity, and because Ramona also really deals with it in this book, it just kind of was at a perfect time as well. But there were so many other parts of this book that I really enjoyed and really appreciated. I feel like I kind of almost undersell this book a little bit because I talk a lot about these aspects, like the romantic aspect and, you know, the whole like sexual romantic orientation thing, simply because that's just kind of what I'm mostly related to in this book, and because that was kind of what the whole controversy was around. But there's so much more to this book. It's just a really well done contemporary. The whole family dynamic, the whole friendship dynamic, dealing with being poor, there's so much great representation in it, so much everything is great. I could gush about this forever. I love this book with all of my heart, and I just want so many more people to read this. This book is so underrated, and I'm mad because there's still a lot of people out there who have a really wrong opinion of this. I get that the initial blurb was problematic, and I get that, you know, it can be an issue to have a lesbian character fall in love with a boy, but the way it is portrayed in here is so good and so realistic and absolutely representation we need. This is so important. I just want more people to read it. I just want more people to realize how good this is and how important this is, and I love everything about it. Oh my god, like Julie Murphy, thank you for this gift. And of course, my number one of 2017 is A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. Now, this is definitely no surprise whatsoever. I already said in my 2016 favorites that this is probably gonna be number one of 2017. I'm almost expecting next year's number one to be A Conjuring of Light. And here it is. This book absolutely delivered everything it had to deliver, and it wasn't an easy task. There's so many characters in this book that all had to have a good ending, and they all got a good ending. I still don't know how Victoria Schwab did this. Every character had an ending that they absolutely deserved, that really fit their whole storyline. There are questions left, but they are good questions. They are questions we all could live with, but that will probably get answered in other books in this world. There's so much great character development in it from every single character. We find out so much background story about Holland that I was just expecting since the first book. It finally happened. It's all there. It's all so good. It's all so well thought out. Lila goes through a really interesting character development that I really appreciated. The way she starts kind of letting go and actually being able to care is oh my god, it makes me emotional. Surprise, surprise. Makes me so happy. But also Rai, Alucard and Cal go through some really great and interesting character development. I could go into so many details on all of these different characters, on the storyline, on the world building, on some of the new supporting characters. There's so much good stuff in it. I just think this is one of the best books ever and one of the best conclusions ever, and I'm not sure if there's ever gonna be another serious conclusion that will come close to this book. If there ever is, it's probably done by Victoria Schwab, let's be honest. Anyway, these were my top 10 books of 2017. Of course, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on this list. As I said, probably a lot of these were no surprises at all, but I would love to hear some of your thoughts and some of your opinions on individual books. And obviously I want to know what your number one book of 2017 was. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you soon.